Hello world, hello YouTube land. So what's with the red hat then? Am I back on the Trump train? Not exactly, but I think it's quite relevant to the review that I'm just about to read out. Every couple of months I go to the theatre or the cinema and I watch the latest offering from Royal Shakespeare Company or whoever's putting on a Shakespearean production. This time it was the Royal Shakespeare Company. I went to the cinema, watched the live performance of Julius Caesar, from the RSC in Stratford-Upon-Avon. So it's performed live, Stratford-Upon-Avon, and shown in the cinema where I watched it with my mum. Had a good evening, and I said that I'm not going to do a review because I don't get paid. What's the point in doing it? It takes a few hours, and all I'm going to get is a bit of hassle really because I'm not exactly going to please the RSC on Twitter. I'm not exactly going to get any retweets or anything or any pats on the head or anything. So because I say what I think about it, right? But I've done a review anyway, and if you're interested in what I thought of Julius Caesar from the Royal Shakespeare Company, link down below to the review. But if you want the verbal version of that review, you're in for a treat because I'm going to read it to you right now. So here we go. Here we go. The RSC Live 2017 Julius Caesar review by Mark Anthony Pritchard. It is me. I've titled it "When William Returned." Here we go. I'll try to put some life into it. Right. If you go to the theatre today, you run the risk of hearing the political views of directors and actors and being subjected to their embarrassingly blue-pilled juvenile squawkings about nationalism, Donald Trump, or anything that doesn't conform to PC consensus leftist ideology. Such was the case with this production of Julius Caesar, which was largely very good, but predictably tainted at the beginning with a short interview with some of the cast members. So what did the lefty twits say? Did they call Donald Trump Hitler? Did they call Brexit voters Hitler? Did they call my brother's dog Hitler? Well, no Hitler references this time, but they had a good old SJW whinge anyway. Okay, so here's the bit where you slap your forehead and enjoy the pearls of wisdom dropped from the lefty lovies at the RSC. Democratically elected businessman Donald Trump, a man who appears to be playing along with the globalist agenda just like Obama before him, is a potential dictator who probably needs to be assassinated, just like Julius Caesar in the play. Yeah, they went there. Oh, and the role of females in this play was vital. It wasn't. Because Shakespeare gave all the best lines to the female characters. He didn't. And if women had run Rome, all the horrible events that transpired during the play probably wouldn't have happened. Oh man. The Ulysses is strong in the theatre, a strange land of estrogen-powered make-believe where actors and directors see patriarchal dictators everywhere, yet are completely unable to see their own Marxist-indoctrinated faces that stare back at themselves in the mirror. But on to the play, which was very good, and written by a guy who was a bit of a genius, and not a drippy leftist, who would no doubt have been commissioned to write the play if it was created anew today. The plot is simple, easy to follow, and I can see why it's one of Shakespeare's plays taught in UK schools. A very popular Julius Caesar is returning from another military triumph, and the plebeians of Rome, that's the ancient equivalent of the voting masses, are demanding he be made an emperor and given dictatorial powers. The Roman plebeians are unanimous in their passionate devotion towards Caesar, by the way. They all love him. So the parallels with nationalist figures like Donald Trump, who are massively divisive, is completely off. Trump built hotels, not battlefields of corpses. He was a businessman, not a soldier. If you want a more accurate parallel with Caesar, I suggest you look at Oliver Cromwell and the aftermath of the English Civil War, and for more modern parallels of military might and dictatorships, look to Erdogan in Turkey, because that situation is ongoing right now. But back to the plot. Caesar is considered too popular, stroke ambitious, by a group of conspirators that are close to him, and so they bump him off, speeches happen, the plebeians change their minds, then back again, and the play concludes with the conspirators losing the battle and doing what Roman soldiers always do when they lose a war. Julius Caesar is all about the speeches given by powerful political figures and their attempts to manipulate the Roman plebeians. The most memorable of these speeches is the rhetorical masterclass given by Mark Antony, that's James Corrigan, as he demonstrates that his rival Brutus, Alex Waldman, is not all that he claims, repeatedly referring to him as honourable, whilst illustrating that by his very actions he is anything but. The speech is further enhanced by the orator's claims that he is not very good at speeches, and he's just a bumbling fool who cannot manipulate with words, and is a simple man who just tells it like it is. Potential politicians should take note. This is how you do it. This is how you turn a potentially hostile crowd into your way of thinking, whilst acting like all you are doing is speaking unvarnished truth. And no, this has no parallels with Trump either. Sorry, libs, it just doesn't. Trump is a symptom, not a cause, and his powerful rhetorical speech are certainly not on the level of Mark Antony's. If you want to know the cause, looking at the most painful of implements, a mirror. I'll make a couple of notes about the individual performances and staging, as I saw the production with my mother, and she has seen and studied the play before, so her observations hold more weight than my own. Mum felt that the actor playing Brutus lacked presence, power and charisma, and that his uninspiring performance detracted from the play. I saw the character as weak and wishy-washy, and apparently that's not what they were going for, so it was a bit of a problem. Mum also felt that the scenes with the plebeians were lacking in personnel. The speakers talked to large crowds in Rome, and what we saw were 10 people shuffling around the stage, so that was a bit off. Speaking for myself, I very much enjoyed the performance of Martin Hudson as Cassius. There was a very human sense of complexity to the motivational drivers behind his actions, and my mother and I were left debating those motivations long into the evening. I found him to be the most fascinating character on stage, most believably human, and certainly the most memorable. Special mention also goes to the booming voice of Julius Caesar, and the subtle notes of insecurity in this performance of a man not quite as physically robust as he would like to be for an individual in such a high status position of social elevation. It's always a good time when the main man Shakespeare is in town, and such was the case with his latest production from the RSC. Okay, so you have to deal with the blue pill guzzling actors, directors, audience members and everybody else involved in it all, but at the core of the experience there's always going to be William Shakespeare. The social justice, open borders, sovereignty-hating feminised libtards who control the theatre industry can moan and complain about the rejection of their lefty agenda as much as they want, but what they think doesn't really matter. What matters is the original Shakespearean text, and when they stick to it, as they do in this production, the words of the master easily transcend childish attempts from contemporary liberals to use the bard as weaponised propaganda against their ideological enemies. William Shakespeare will, of course, endure long after the current era of regressive insanity fades away to dust, buried in the Highgate cemetery of silly bearded, dangerously wrong ideas. That's a certainty, and it makes me smile. I always get something out of watching Shakespeare, not from the actors, it's the words that matter. And when they stick to the words, I'm more than happy to spend the night with the liberals. The RSC began tonight's performance with words from the actors, and then the master took over. His words revealing truth beyond the narrow political, ideological squawkings of our time. Leftist insanity disappeared when William returned. Ideas flourished, minds were stimulated, and all was right with the world again. And I give it an 8 out of 10 for the performance. Superior performances for Martin Hudson and James Corrigan. That's the two guys played Mark Antony and Cassius. But the star of the show, as always, was William Shakespeare himself. So that's my slightly bumbling review of Julius Caesar from the RSC. Like Mark Antony himself, I'm just not a very good speaker. You know, I just tell it as it is. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Yeah, let me know what you think if you saw the play yourself. And I am sorry if I offended you, liberals. We'd get on perfectly well, face to face. It's just I've got different opinions about things to you, and that's all. Different opinions. That's it. Don't hate you. No hatred coming from this guy. Right. Thanks for checking me out. A link to the written review down below if you can make any sense out of my bumbling attempt to read it out. Thanks for checking me out, and take care, everybody. Trump fan or not. So yeah, thanks. Bye. Bye. Bye.